Change a
All
few
right,
words.
what is up, everybody? Look at this. I know that you can't see everyone's screen at once, so I'll have everyone talk so you can see. We got some new setups. I am
Full
The
broadcasting.
barn.
new digs. The new
Yeah.
digs are here.
Also, for the first time in forever, we got a full barn because Jonathan
Alright,
has decided
it
to
was
grace us
2
with his
weeks.
presence.
It was 2 weeks. Last week was because of work, and then the week before was Thanksgiving and my dad's birthday.
A lot of construction going on in the dark.
I had a business meeting. Did you miss
Okay.
what I was telling you? What I was telling the other two? Promotion and whatnot?
But
Yeah.
carrying bodies doesn't count as a business meeting.
I had to meet with the Campisi family.
Neither does a Tinder date.
Crime family.
And yeah, I'm
He was
filming.
there, but-
I'm filming from a mysterious location. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
where are you?
I can't say. No, I'm house sitting for somebody, so I'm in somebody else's house.
Austin,
I
and
can't say.
you see
What's
those
the address?
blinds? You see those blinds behind him? He's at the Motel 6.
Yeah,
What's the address?
I honestly couldn't tell you off the top of my head. I would have to walk outside and see what the house number is. But yeah, so I found a little corner of the house that had no personal items or anything. If you can identify these people by their curtains, good for you. It reminds me of when Texas was trying to hire a coach, and there was that interview with Urban Meyer, and there was curtains in the background of the hotel, and everyone thought he was in Horseshoe Bay. It was great.
Back when Nick Saban was preparing to take the Texas job and was looking for houses.
No. That was way before that. But back when they were all upset that they got Steve Sarkisian, and now they're in the college football playoffs. So, speaking of that, that's what we're talking about today. All right, and we're not really going to go into too much detail, probably about the actual games from this past weekend. We might bring up a couple things and points,
They were all garbage besides SEC.
but we are mainly no.
No.
The Florida State Louisville game was a good game.
Oh, I'm so happy Louisville was a good game.
Louisville, terrible.
I mean, Louisville has a top 10 offense this year. Then the Florida State looked pretty good on defense against them, but that's not important. That was a good game. That was an exciting game to watch, especially if you were like that was the game where it's like, ooh, what are they going to do if Florida State loses? And then Florida State won, and then it was like, ooh, what are they going to do now that they won?
So exciting with the third string quarterback.
Okay, yeah, but when they play in a college football playoff, at least their second string quarterback would have been back.
I mean, I feel
So-
bad for old buddy because he was put in a terrible spot.
Yeah. All right. So let's talk about the committee's actual decisions. We had Michigan as the overall number 1 seed. We'll talk about that in a bit. Washington as the number 2 seed. We're going to talk about that in a bit as well. Texas at 3 and Alabama at 4. That one at least probably seems logical since Texas beat Alabama. So it kind of makes sense, whatever. We'll talk about those two teams in a bit as well. And then Florida State at 5, ahead of Georgia at 6.
Which makes zero
That makes
sense.
no sense.
We'll talk about that in a bit. That's one of the later questions. But the first overall question, I want
Wait,
everyone's
Austin,
opinions.
I-
All right,
hey,
Shane,
wait.
drive the ship.
No, I know you do this. This is your thing. But just
Worked
so
really
we have
hard on
some
the script.
just so we have some context, can we at least go through and see? And maybe was the question: who everyone thinks should have been in the playoffs, so we have some context where this conversation goes.
Or is this a question that Austin already has lined up?
Yeah,
So you want to know who we think should have been in the playoffs?
Like,
yeah.
before
Who us?
the committee.
Okay, so question number 1,
Yeah.
did
Uh-oh.
he get it right?
Okay.
But thanks, Shane.
All right.
So first, what my question was going to be, before I was so rudely interrupted, is first, just overall, do you think they got it right? If the answer is no, which I'm assuming for a lot of you, it's going to be no. Who would you have picked as your 4? Which we already said who we thought should be the 4 last week on the pod, but then the
wasn't on.
championship, but also the championship games happened, and so that could have swayed people's opinion. Shane, since you're so freaking gung-ho about this question, why don't you go first?
Answer is they got it wrong, and I'm gonna shock some people because I'm about to change my answer. My 4, in no particular order, should have been Michigan, Alabama, Georgia, and Texas.
I
That's
agree.
my 4.
That's exactly what I said last week.
Are we reasoning this? I also think that they got it wrong. My 4 are Michigan, Washington, Florida State, Alabama.
No,
Blake.
no, absolutely not.
Yep.
My 4,
Florida State's the hard one for me, obviously.
Man, now that you said that. Okay, my 4 that I'm sticking to, this is what I've thought the whole time.
I bet Texas is not in this one.
It's not in there.
Yeah, I was like, I know exactly where this is going.
Michigan, Washington, Georgia, Alabama.
I would have been fine with that. I would have been fine with that too.
Texas
I
is better
think-
than Washington, and so do the gambling streets agree.
Yes,
I-
that is true.
My problem is not with Texas. I don't have a problem with Texas being in there, but my problem is with the previous rankings. What happened this week?
'Kay.
The result was.
All right, so let's jump to
Yeah,
that question. So we all agree that the committee got it wrong. Okay, and that now actually we'll get there in a second. Let's talk about the committee in itself because everyone keeps arguing the whole bubble. Is it the best or is it the most deserved? And can we all just be adults here? It's freaking both.
Yeah.
No,
It's
but it
both.
shouldn't be. It shouldn't be.
Why?
Yes and no. I feel really bad for Florida State.
If
Right?
it-
Jordan Travis's comment or whatever after that happened is heartbreaking where he's like, I should have just broke my foot earlier in the year, or I should have or we should have lied about how long I'm going to actually be out for, like all of these kind of things.
That's going to be a thing now.
Yeah, it's just like, so Florida State deserves to be in based off of the rankings previously. Nothing should have changed based off of conference championship weekend.
That's where the committee got it so
That's
wrong.
my
Is the
problem. So
way,
you have Florida State. What were they? They were number 4 at the time.
yeah.
Yeah.
You have Florida State, Oregon. They're obviously out. Then you have Texas, then Alabama. Texas beats the number 18 team who lost to South Alabama. Granted, they absolutely destroyed them. And they move up 4 spots. And then Florida State, who beats the number 12 team by double digits by your own rankings, is out?
Yeah.
Yeah.
How does
That,
that even work?
that's the part that I really dislike. And so I have some conspiracy theories about that we will talk about in a bit. But
They beat a better team, and they lost. They moved out.
yeah,
The committee doesn't know what they're doing. They should have taken gambling into account and handicapped themselves a little bit the week before, and they could have made this a whole lot easier on themselves. But you can't go from 4 to out of the playoffs by
By
a
one
spot,
championship.
and then a team jump you 3 spots or 4
Yeah.
spots.
You
That-
beat
that
a
you
worse
can't do.
team by your own
Yeah,
admission.
or Oklahoma State is a terrible football program. I mean, they're terrible.
Well, we're about to find out.
Easy. We're about to find out.
Hey,
Yeah.
I know that.
whoa,
And guess what?
whoa. We are also currently a very bad football program.
Yes,
We also don't
stink.
have coaching. Regardless of that,
Also,
My-
bowl games don't
my
matter.
problem is with if Jordan Travis. First of all, if Jordan Travis is that important, he should win the Heisman. Second of all, my second problem
yeah.
I don't know about that. I don't know.
No,
I don't
I
think
mean-
that's
Yeah.
okay. But you could say the same thing about Milroe if Milroe got hurt, but Milroe shouldn't win the Heisman.
But if you
Milroe got benched for 2 games.
if you beat the number 12 team in the nation, it just doesn't even make. They should have dropped Florida State 2 weeks ago when he got hurt.
They should have
Yeah.
dropped him immediately when he got hurt, which they
Yeah.
did. They moved
That
him
makes
to
the deal.
they moved him to 5 for a week or whatever.
I just don't see Texas. The crazy part is no team has ever jumped from number 6 even
Yeah.
into the playoff in the last week. Texas went from 7 to 3. That
Yeah.
doesn't. And I'm not bad. Texas is a good team.
Well,
Texas
and
probably
Alabama
should be in
jumped
there.
like crazy too.
Texas
But-
is going to be
Yeah, but
in the national
Alabama
championship.
Beat Georgia. Alabama beat Georgia, John.
True,
That's
which-
the difference.
True.
And no
but
team
still,
has
they
gone
did
from
jump
number
like crazy.
1
Yeah.
to number
They both jumped
6.
4 spots. Both of them jumped 4 spots. They both did the exact same thing. They both jumped over Florida State and Ohio State.
the committee kind of screwed themselves by
And Oregon,
keeping
but Oregon
Florida
lost. So.
State where they were all season.
Correct.
Yes,
They
and
should have
that-
dropped out if they wanted to. If they wanted to say, "Hey, if you go 13-0, it still doesn't matter." Then the second Jordan Travis got hurt, they should have dropped them to 7 or 8. But
should
they
have dropped
didn't. They kept them at 4 the entire time. So now, when they beat a better team than Texas does, now they didn't beat them by as many points. However,
doesn't matter.
they kept a top 10 offense to like nothing. Their defense was incredible. Like
Yeah.
I would be terrified to play that defense right now, unless I'm Georgia, because I mean that game's gonna be so low scoring because Georgia doesn't have like an incredible offense.
No, and I don't think Georgia will even be.
Yeah,
Kids
and
saying they're going to play, I doubt.
No,
Play.
no, it's
I
gonna be just
still
like
think
them
it's
versus
crazy.
Texas a few years ago in the Sugar Bowl,
Yeah.
where they're gonna play. They're gonna play their
we're
starters,
back.
but it's way different. It's way different than playing against Alabama. They're not going to play to the same level as they played against Alabama in the SEC championship game. It's just
No.
different.
I also have an issue with them putting them number 5 and putting Georgia number 6. Because if you're saying we're going 4 best teams no matter the situation,
Yeah,
that's fine.
Georgia.
But be consistent. You're telling me that Georgia is not a better team than Florida State in this?
I mean, I don't know if I haven't seen what that line opened at, but if it's less than 14.5, I'd be shocked.
Oh, it's got to be. I bet it's 18.5.
Like there's no way. I mean, especially with, I mean, I know Rodenbach or however you say his name, like he played decent in those 2 games, but
But it's Georgia.
it's Georgia. I think
think
Georgia.
it's
I think
Georgia
Georgia
actually.
against Jordan Travis is like a 8.5 point favorite.
Yeah, I mean,
It's 14 points for
14,
Georgia
right on the
right
money.
now.
They're crazy. Got to get the hook.
I just don't understand the committee when they. I'm not saying they didn't get the 4 best teams because I do think ultimately they probably got the 4 best teams
Disagree.
without Georgia. That's the wild card.
Washington should be out if we're doing that, and that's my point. You already set the precedent that going 13-0 and winning your conference doesn't matter by putting in Texas and Alabama above Georgia, or above Florida State. So you better take Georgia and kick out Washington. Washington proved that they have Oregon's number, and that's it.
Yes, that's the problem. They beat Oregon.
They proved that they are better than Oregon, who is a good team, and that they're just it's a matchup that their matchup beats Oregon in a game. But they have not proven then in that matter by the rest of their games that they are a better football team than Georgia.
I would agree
You
with
know-
that. I think
You
Georgia-
know who's happiest of all this ranking?
Texas is going to win the
Yeah,
national
Texas-
championship. Just book it right now. What are the
Well, I don't
odds?
think
Go
that,
book it.
though.
Go book it.
I think
I don't think that's
Bama
true.
They have the
wins, but-
best offense in the college football playoff, and they have the second best defense. They are going to win the national championship. Also, they're a freaking team of destiny. Look at all the games that they've had where they've just been absolutely terrible, and they win. They're the team
Yeah,
of
but that's-
destiny this
that's
year.
every year. That's every year.
TCU
Chip.
No, it's not.
is the
They
team of
lose
destiny
5
last
games
year
every
and got
year.
their ass kicked.
Well, that's true too.
TCU
Yeah, but-
was team of destiny last year. They got their ass kicked.
TCU didn't have an offense.
Dude, I'm just saying, if they meet Alabama again, they win it twice.
Michigan.
They might not play Alabama again.
I think it's going to end up being Alabama and Texas, but
I think purposely that's why they did it the way they did it. I truthfully believe Alabama is a better football team and is more deserving than Texas for the number 3. But the head-to-head or whatever, which
I would say for sure. So this is what it all comes down to. I think that the committee has a lot of problems. We're going to talk about committee problems in just a second. The reason why Texas is in the playoffs is because Georgia lost. I
Yeah.
guarantee you, if Georgia would have won, Florida State would be number 4.
100%
Yeah.
agree.
100%. However, they watched Alabama beat Georgia, and you can't play the playoffs without the SEC. I don't give a crap what
Exactly.
people say. I don't give a crap about, the SEC went 7-9 in non-conference play this year. Go look
Okay.
at what happened. Do we have Vandy playing your best team from your conference? Yeah, you're going to win that game. And yes, did Alabama lose to Texas in week 2? But generally, when you watch, if you put the top team from the SEC versus the top team from a different conference, generally the SEC wins. Out of the 17 years that we've had this go, or whatever, the SEC has won what? 13 of the last 17 national championships, because
Yeah.
usually their top team is the best. And so when Alabama wins that, they go, okay, Alabama has to go in. Also, Texas beat them, so we have to put them
Which
in.
I think is
Sorry, sucks to sucks,
baloney.
Florida State.
I think it's baloney because I was thinking about this today. Like Oklahoma, for instance, Oklahoma beats Texas. Now Oklahoma lost. Ended up
To Oklahoma State.
Yes, they lost 2 games. Had they lost one game, do we then go, and they're in the conversation as well, do we then go, oh, well, Oklahoma beat Texas, Texas beat Alabama, so actually it's Oklahoma, Texas, Washington. The head-to-head argument is total baloney to me.
I don't like the head-to-head.
Circular to me.
Alabama in September is a totally different team than Alabama right now.
The head-to-head argument, I get it. They beat them. That's fine. That they beat them in week 2, which I think is relevant, which a lot of people have been saying they don't think is relevant. I do.
That's what I don't get.
You can take the head-to-head in a circle for days and days and days.
Correct. At this point in time, South Alabama is going to be the national champion because they beat Oklahoma State, who beat Texas, who beat Alabama, and it's going to be like, all right, South Alabama, they're national champions.
Talk in circles all day long.
Yeah,
I don't think the head-to-head should matter as much.
I do think it matters at the end of the season. Like Georgia should be not above Alabama because they played this past weekend. They had the same record. Alabama beat them.
Fine. That's fine. I'm okay with that. But week 2 head-to-head, and then on top of that, I know the justification is, Texas is the 3 seed because the head-to-head with Alabama. But in my opinion, Alabama should be the 3.
I mean, if you put Texas and Alabama on a neutral field right now, Alabama's the favorite.
Yeah, 100%.
And Texas is the most bet team in the country, too. So before people say, oh, well, lines are just determined by the public, Texas is the most bet team in college football on the public.
But my personal belief is the reason Texas got 3 is not the head-to-head. It's the let's let them run through Washington. Michigan, Alabama is going to be a massive TV game.
Oh,
that game's going to be fucking overwhelmingly watched.
What network has the college football championship?
Let's pray that Texas and Alabama meet. They want that game to happen. That rematch is what the committee really wants.
So
they'll take Michigan too. Oh wait, hey, did you know that the college football playoff national championship is in Houston, Texas, for 1, and 2, it is on ESPN, who owns UT.
Texas is on, or Texas has 2 home games.
Let me ask you this.
New Orleans. I mean, no matter where that game is played, Texas is going to be the most traveled team.
You're talking New Orleans versus LA.
Okay, but also, I mean, they are the number 1 brand in college sports, and it's not close. Texas travels well.
That's fine. But they're the number 2 seed. Kind of got screwed having to travel from Seattle to New Orleans.
Why?
I mean, they were always going to have to travel to New Orleans being
that's
the 2
just
seed.
Based off of Michigan picking the Rose Bowl. Michigan got the pick.
Why does Michigan choose the Rose Bowl? Just it's the Rose Bowl?
It's the Rose Bowl.
Because it's history. Big Ten versus Pac-12.
Well, no.
But it's not
versus SEC. You take them.
No, but every year, even if you don't make the national championship, the Rose Bowl is always played between the Big Ten champion and the Pac-12 champion. So a bunch of Michigan fans have nostalgia for playing at the Rose Bowl.
That makes sense.
You do that for your fans.
That makes sense. But I mean, Harbaugh picked the Rose Bowl, so
I also don't think the home field. Like, you can make an argument for whatever you want to make. Home being closer geographically probably is not a great argument. If you can't get up for a playoff game, you're toast.
The one question I've got that has to do with the playoffs, in particular as far as head-to-head, is in the NFL we talk about, we don't care if teams lose in the first 6 weeks. We care who catches their stride in November and December. But then when you go to the college football, which is virtually the same season, we care about what happened in week 2. And people that are in very high places in sports broadcasting sit there and, like you guys said, oh, this head-to-head against Texas and Alabama means a whole lot. Well, why does it differ based on NFL and college? That's what I don't.
It does matter. It does matter. But my only thing is that's not the end all be all. You can objectively look at a team and be like, wow.
But my thing is it doesn't matter, because if you go back to history, look at the NFL, for example. I know it's a different game, but there's
the game have to matter. Otherwise, let's just play 4-week seasons.
I was gonna say, if you start off 0-4 in college football, but then at the end of the year you're beating every team by 150 points, you still shouldn't go because you lost 4 games. Like those games have to count.
That matters. That's the part that matters.
The game has to count.
The game has to count.
My point is, when you look at the way it was ranked, it was Texas and Alabama in sequential order, which is fine.
Yeah.
Texas beats the number 18 team. They killed them. Alabama beats the number 1 team. In any other situation, Alabama would jump up another spot probably.
Yeah.
They didn't because of this head-to-head matchup that happened in September.
I was always on team that Alabama should not ever be ranked ahead of Texas, no matter what, just because they did beat them head-to-head. And that's your right as the winner of that game. In the NFL, if you guys play each other at the beginning of the season and I beat you, and then we go and we have the same record at the end of the year, even if I'm a worse team looking at that, I have better seeding than you because that's one of the tiebreakers. Texas should always have been ahead of Alabama.
But the NFL makes sense because it's a broader playoffs perspective. In college football, I don't give a shit who you are. You can't watch the past 6 weeks of college football and tell me that Texas is a better football team than Alabama. You would be asinine.
Sure, why not?
I mean,
Alabama almost lost to Auburn.
They both beat everyone.
Alabama looked terrible against South Florida.
I don't think it's that out of pocket that Texas is ranked ahead of them. I just think the arguments were like, well, it was as simple as they beat them head-to-head, and I'm like, but let's look at the total body work. College football is 100% opinion-based. We just saw that. Florida State is 13-0, and they are left out based on the opinions of some old white men.
But that's my problem.
And one black woman. All right.
One black woman, Condoleezza Rice, somehow finds herself in the middle of college football all the time. But
she's surely not still on the committee, right?
Opinion-based. So why are we – in one situation we're saying, oh, well, this happened on the field. In this other situation we're saying, well, I don't care what happened on the field. I don't believe they're the best.
Which is exactly why I say I don't think they picked Texas over Alabama because of that game. I think it's a great excuse. I think they picked Texas to play Washington because it's an easier game for them to get to the national title. And then Alabama, Michigan is a great game for them for TV rights. And then if they get their matchup that they want and it's Texas and Alabama rematch, that's gold.
I think it doesn't. I think it doesn't matter. I mean, they're always going to get big views, regardless.
No,
as long as yes, they might not get the greatest views in history, but they're going to get. They're going to make their money on that
they'll make
game.
Their money, but they're not getting the.
As long as I agree with you that Texas beating Washington is ideal for them. It doesn't matter who wins out of Michigan and Alabama. Those are two of the most storied programs, and if they're playing Texas, it will be a highly watched game.
No, for sure. But you're telling me the committee's not sitting there going, dude, if we could have a rematch, that would be.
But the committee doesn't profit off that. The networks.
No, it's just this whole situation has just proved that the committee doesn't actually watch football. They don't. Watch
they do.
It. No, they watch it from their 26-inch TV in their office chairs with suits on, eating goddamn hors d'oeuvres and fish eggs. I mean,
Shane, the majority of them are ex-college football coaches or current, like something, and they probably have watched more football than we could ever, the four of us combined in our life.
Okay, my
they
boy Ruby, if they can watch more football than me, supposedly, and choose this shit, then God darn, I should be the president of the United States.
Shane, it's not about the best teams. When will you get over that? It's a mixture of best and deserved.
It should be the best.
No, it shouldn't, because if the best team is 1-11, and then this week they're going to play the best, they've lost 11 games. It makes no sense.
The best team isn't going to be 1-11. That's the problem.
Any given Saturday, Shane. Any given Saturday, this kid could have been juicing up in the locker room, and we have no clue. And all of a sudden, they're going to be great. Or
I
their
will-
star
I-
quarterback could have been. Look at the Arizona Cardinals in the NFL that were the worst team ever, and now that Kyler is back, they look significantly better. So you could have a team who lost. Let's say they're 6-5. They're bowl eligible because their star quarterback was gone for the large chunk of the season. But now they're beating everyone by 40 points. They shouldn't
So
be in,
that's
even though they're the
my
best
problem.
team.
They
That's my
can't
problem
do
with this
best
whole
team
thing.
only.
Do we then take in consideration that a team might have got their star quarterback back? Maybe let's say they lost 2 games at the beginning of the year. They get their star quarterback back and they go 10-0, beat every team by 50 points. Are they making the playoff? No, because they have 2 losses.
Correct. So
It can't just
gotta be
based
a
on
perfect
being
mixture.
the best
So,
team because
it's so inconsistent.
now
If we
on
want to
that,
do the most deserving, Liberty should be in the guy. They're 13-0, ain't
No,
they?
not
Liberty
Power
is the guy-
5.
50 out of 134, so no.
now
yeah,
back.
Still,
their
they
defense
won
is
all their
terrible.
games.
Now here's the part that bothers me.
That is not apples. That is not
The
apples.
College Football Playoff Committee has a
agree, but-
supercomputer that takes all of this into account. It's called SOR.
Which that's a horse shit too.
No, it's not.
I
But
agree.
if that's what you're going to have, then you need to follow that. And if you followed that,
That gives you the 4 best teams.
Florida State would have been in the playoff and Texas would have been out because
Guess
Texas
what?
was 5.
We had a system like that. It was called the BCS.
Yeah, I know. I'm a fan of the BCS. I loved it when it was just 2 teams. Let's just do this. Let's just have one national championship game. I don't care about the college football. And now it's going to be even worse with freaking 12 teams.
That can never happen again because the bowl games are just so pointless. That's back when, like, if a team made it to the Rose Bowl, like, it actually mattered.
Yeah.
Now the Rose Bowl has no one cares about the Rose Bowl unless it's a part of the playoff. Nobody cares.
Correct. But yeah, the whole like the thing that bothers me is that, like, you know, they say it's supposed to be the 4 best teams. It clearly isn't. They clearly do a mixture of best and deserving. So then it really bothers me that they have this computer that puts all of that into account, and then they still don't listen to it just because Florida State lost a quarterback.
That's what I cannot get over is the Florida State situation. Like, selfishly, and as a person that's going to watch the games, I am not upset with Florida State being left out. If my team was 13-0, I don't care what player you lose. You're plus for the defense, it's like they dominated on defense. Who's to say?
Oh yeah, for sure. And it's all TCU's fault, right? That's what everyone's
is.
saying because they lost 65-7. But no one likes to talk about the fact that they lost 65-7 in the national championship game.
After they beat Michigan.
They beat Michigan in the first round. So it's like, I mean, yes,
And they actually
Odds-
looked good in that game. They
odds
looked
are
really good.
there's going to be a blowout. Every year, there's generally in one of the semifinal games, if not both of them, are blowouts.
I'll take my money on Texas and Washington as a blowout.
Texas and Washington is going to be a blowout, and it's going to be Texas that does the blowing out.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
agree. I agree.
Washington's defense is garbage. And
I actually don't know if that's going to be a blowout, but
I think it's going to be Texas opened as what, 6.5-point favorites?
I think they were down to 4.5 last time I saw.
Well, maybe it's 4.5. I knew it was something and a half.
I also
I'll take Texas minus 10.
Yeah, me too. I also want to know, does the committee take into account the strength of the conference? I know
Yes.
they take in strength of record or
That's your
strength of schedule.
Schedule. That's your strength.
Well, the strength of record is the one that puts everything together.
But that's skewed. That is so skewed.
I agree because Texas was high because the Big 12 has a lot of bowl eligible teams. That's because every bad team.
Yeah,
is every
so
other bad team.
I was like, that's my problem with that. Then, if you look at it, I'm not a fan of using I'm not a fan of the college football playoff doing 1 through 25 because
Yes. I
they
agree.
don't pay attention past number 8, and then they just do whatever. There's absolutely no reason. Do they do 1 through 25 at the end of the year
Yes.
Yeah.
when they
Yeah.
when they do the
Yeah.
final ranking?
Final
Is
1 through
Oklahoma
25.
State still ranked?
No.
They
are
finally
not.
dropped them out of the ranking.
Yes.
Because
I didn't
the
know.
fact that they were ranked any time after they lost to South Alabama by 26 points at home
It's
is
a
just
shame.
Oklahoma State is ranked number 20.
20.
They're number
Okay,
20. They're still ranked at 9-4.
They are one of
That's-
the top 4-loss teams.
Kansas State
And then
is still in the top 25.
But that's the problem with the strength of schedule. It's like it's skewed. It's a skewed number based on
That's I don't like that, or if the committee is going to do 1 through 25, they need to pay more attention to 1 through 25. And now they will, because we're going to 12. So they're going to pay at least closer attention.
Look, you want to know how I wish the committee would do it? I wish we just kept the AP poll up until this weekend. And then the committee gets to come out with their 1 through 4. And then we don't
That
have
would actually save some headaches.
Well,
yes, that you don't have all this BS of, oh, you had this team ranked here, you had this team
the
ranked here.
TV executives not like that very much. So
No, I get that. Yeah, because they get ratings out of the show. But if you
but
want,
who watches the show? No one watches that show.
no, I don't.
I
I
just
wait
look
till
at the
it comes
rankings
up on. I wait till it comes up on my phone and says, "Hey, we got a new poll." But if they really want to leave controversy out of it, just do it the last weekend of the year. And hey, here's your 1 through 4, and there you go. And I feel like it would solve some problems, honestly.
The ACC has 4 ranked teams besides Florida State in the final ranking. The Big 12 only has 3. And besides Oklahoma being ranked above the ACC's next top prospect, every single ACC team is ranked above the Big 12 teams as well.
I will say on the ACC's part, it's a bit ironic, this whole thing, because we should have had a 12-team playoff this year. And they formed –
They're the ones, yeah.
They formed the alliance with the Pac-12,
Yeah.
the ACC, and the Big Ten, where we're going to come together and we're going to play each other and we're going to be whatever, yada, yada, baloney. And then they declined to vote for the 12-team playoff, which the SEC and the Big 12 were prepared to do. And they said, sorry, we're not going to do it. And now they left out. What idiots have a Power 5 sport of any? You have a 5-conference sport, and you have a 4-team playoff.
Exactly.
Somebody's getting left out, fellas.
Well, this is also those same conferences are the one when old COVID-19 hit, said hunker down in a barn and don't move. When old President Sankey said, we're playing football, you.
And then Ohio State won 6 games and A&M gets left out? Yeah.
Yeah, and we got left out to
Yeah.
Notre Dame and Ohio State. Yep.
Played 6 games.
Okay, now the next thing, since we kind of brought up conferences and how they're all different, the conference realignment is also shown that it is going to F everything up, as the Big 12 didn't have everybody play a same strength of schedule, which was a big deal. And now the SEC, there's no way each team is going to have an equal strength of schedule with this stupid pod system, which makes no sense. Just break it into 2 divisions and freaking play 9 conference games and just shut up about it, so that at least everyone on the same side plays the same teams.
I agree.
Because did Texas win the Big 12 because they had an easier strength of schedule than like Oklahoma? I don't know.
Well, they didn't play Oklahoma State during the regular season. So.
They didn't play Oklahoma. Well, I mean, honestly, that might have been against them because Oklahoma State is terrible. So
they're all terrible.
Texas is good. Texas is a good football team.
Agreed.
I would, as an A&M fan, I would not want to play Texas at any point this year. They would beat us by over 20 points.
The only thing I can say about Texas is because we all know Texas can Texas. They haven't done the Texas thing this year. What if it happens against Washington? What if they haven't? What if they just
Texas has something that they haven't.
What do you mean? They have done the Texas game. They just won.
Yeah, they just won.
They did it multiple times. I was at one of them. They did the Texas thing against Kansas State.
No, but I'm talking about
what Shane's talking about is losing.
And Houston, which was aided by probably the worst spot.
Okay, but that's what I'm saying. They have won those games. They haven't just come out, been up by 2 touchdowns at half, and they just shit the bed.
They did that against Kansas State. They were up over 20 points at halftime, and then they went to overtime. I was at it.
They won the game.
Yeah, but usually they lose that game.
That's the point I'm trying to make, y'all. They've done all the Texas things, but they've still won the game because they're better than normal. No, my point is to your point is that they're a better team than normal. So even when they have this controversy, or not controversy, they have this trial as a team, they get over it.
All right, Shane, I'm with you. I hope they Texas the shit out of this playoff game.
God,
I didn't even think about this. I really hope they Texas it.
I would rather jump off a bridge head first than watch Texas win the national championship. Lord of mercy.
I'm not ready for Clemsoning to be over, and I'm not ready for Texas to be
Yes.
over. I need
no. It's gonna
You know,
happen, y'all. So just brace it. Okay. Hey, while we're still
it's not
talking about
happening.
Texas,
Alabama would kick
I
their ass.
I think
we say that.
Alabama
Okay,
dog
we
walked
say
them
we
in
say that, but
Natty.
here's my problem with Alabama.
Alabama wins
Has
at least by
repeatedly
7.
proven in multiple years. Gosh dang it. I'm having an echo. I'm sorry. Thing.
I don't hear you.
Okay, whatever. Alabama has proven in consecutive years that they are very liable to Texas' offensive strategy of throwing the ball deep. Alabama can't cover a deep pass.
You
and
don't
that's what
want
I'm
to play Nick Saban twice, though.
I know, but I'm just saying they proved it last year. I know that Alabama won that football game, but it was very, very close, and Texas did a very good job of getting behind their corners because Alabama's going to play bump and run man coverage, and in college football, that's a dangerous game because it only takes 2 passes.
The Sith
Their
Lord.
their secondary is definitely the weak spot.
The
But I think
Sith, the
Texas'
Sith
weak spot
Lord.
is also their secondary. That's why I think Washington can keep it close because I don't think Texas has a good secondary.
They're opportunistic, is what I would say.
They can get a lot of pressure on the quarterback, which leads to sacks, and that helps.
I
But
Texas's strength is that no one can run on them.
Yes.
Tavondre Sweat is just Vince Wilfork 2.0. Like, no one can run on them because he's so freaking big.
I talked to a very big Texas fan yesterday that said he's nervous because he doesn't think anyone's giving Washington any credit.
Okay, well, I'll tell you about the Texas fans. They were nervous about Oklahoma State as well because anything can happen.
No,
Oklahoma
but
State was trash.
This guy, he's a little bit more realistic.
I mean, Washington's got some good players. They're gonna score.
They're going to score.
Washington's only strategy is throw the ball deep. That's all they do.
They won't be able to stop Texas.
Penix throws like 40% accuracy because all he does is just chuck the ball up and hope they catch it.
What's the over-under?
Probably 55.
I mean, I'll take the over because I think
I was
Texas
gonna
will
say,
hit that
I'll
on its own.
I'll take the over.
I'll take the Washington, whatever their team total is, under, though. Okay.
Austin think it might be a dog walk.
Maybe. While we're still talking about Texas, why is no one talking about the fact that they also jumped Florida State? I know that we talked about it earlier, but why is the media not like, hey, this is also weird?
That's my problem with the
All they
national
talk about
media.
is Alabama jumping them. No one, I mean, if you look at it beforehand, ESPN was just like freaking campaigning for Texas to be in the playoffs after Saturday night. I think every single major ESPN announcer or person that is an affiliate tweeted out something that Texas is guaranteed to be in after the Big 12 championship.
I thought that was the strangest thing.
Every single one of them.
Still out, honestly.
Literally, RG3 sent out multiple tweets, and if you would have added all of the people that he said are in, it was 6 different teams. He said everyone was in. It made no sense because he's kind of a dummy. But yeah, they literally had everybody was out there. Just like Texas deserves to be in.
When you looked at their strength of record, which they apparently is a relevant factor, Texas was the worst of the 3 of them. Yeah,
they were 5th. It should have been, if you're going by strength of record, it would have been Alabama 3, FSU 4, Texas 5. But I mean, I'm still fine with the only thing. Texas and Alabama, I do think, are both better than Florida State, where Florida State is now. However, I still am on the team of Florida State, or just any team. You go 13-0 in a Power 5 conference and you win your championship, especially in a situation where you beat a better team, a quote-unquote better team based off of rankings in your championship than the team that beat you. Then that makes no sense.
That's what the game should be played on the field, not in the freaking ball of the freaking Ritz-Carlton.
Where I have a problem is Georgia not like tell me
29 consecutive wins, 2-time national championship. They lose one game and they're done.
You can't tell me that Georgia's not a better team than Texas, Florida State, probably Alabama. If they played 10 times, I think Georgia wins at least 6.
I think Georgia's probably still the best team in the nation. They just happen to lose.
Yeah.
The
They
problem
just
with
happened
Georgia,
to lose that game.
I think this
Which
is,
Austin called. Austin said when Alabama plays Georgia, I think Alabama's gonna win.
I told y'all at the beginning of the year, Alabama's winning the national championship. Now, I do think Texas is going to win it all because Texas is just that lucky son of a gun that won't die.
I think it's gonna be Alabama.
We'll find out. It's going to be fun.
Like Josh Pate said, when you go back and watch when the clock runs out and Alabama has won the SEC title, Josh Pate said that's the same face Alabama gave the Georgia players, and it's just this look of, well, shit, we didn't stop them. That's the national champ.
Well, look at
SEC champ. They're gonna go get it.
I mean, yeah, odds are 13 out of the last 17 is the SEC champ. So Alabama's got a pretty good chance.
SEC champs.
Look,
dog
just-
with that video of the Georgia players in the ballroom. They were like,
Milroe, though, dude, Milroe he doesn't do it for me. I think he's the worst quarterback of the four.
And
I think Milroe.
I
Has
think I take Milroe over McCarthy.
Yeah,
And
but
McCarthy's got his system down, though.
He's got his.
He doesn't
system
have to
down,
do
but,
anything. He
like,
doesn't have to
pure
do it. He just needs
talent,
to.
I'm taking Milroe.
I'll give you that, but McCarthy's gotten very good at, hey, my job is just not F it up.
Like, I don't know if he would get to start at like 70% of division, like Power 5 schools.
he's good for that system.
He's good for that system.
He would be great at Iowa. He would be an
doesn't
amazing
fuck it up.
Iowa quarterback.
Hey, that's where McCord should go, to Iowa.
He doesn't fuck it up. That's his job. Don't fuck it up. Don't
Can
ruin
we-
this for the rest of us.
Can we just get to the point where we go, even if we want to do a 12-team playoff?
I mean, we're doing a 12-team
if,
playoff.
we
It's
are
happening.
doing a
No,
12-team
happening
I
next
know,
year.
I know, but
It's
can
stupid,
we,
but yes.
Can we not?
I'm excited about it.
Can we not let these dumbass humans decide it? Let it. I hate computers. I hate AI. I hate all that.
You won't
Let's
have
let the
you won't
computers
have this type
decide.
of controversy with.
No, I'm
12
fine
teams.
with the controversy. That's the problem. But I'm not fine with the controversy when Condoleezza Rice is deciding the goddamn playoffs. It's not okay.
He hasn't been on the committee in forever.
She's not actually.
Okay. If a woman is deciding the college football playoffs,
Hey,
I'm not
what
okay
was-
with it.
What
have
was our
mercy.
What was our conversation before the freaking podcast? Shane?
Well,
No,
Good
you
Lord.
I chose violence. If any
Here,
woman
Shane.
or transgender is voting on the best college team in the nation, get them out of there.
Shane, here's the
To be
situation.
fair, you didn't say anything about sexist. Like
That
No.
is true. I did not say anything about that. That's on me. I should have
that's
thought of
on
that.
you.
A year from now, you're going to be arguing over Ole Miss.
No, we're not.
No, we're
I'm
not.
sorry.
No,
I'm
we're
sorry.
not.
It won't matter.
No, we're
Anyone,
not.
anyone,
We do not argue over
anyone who is
number
arguing over
13.
who should be the 12 seed in the college football playoff should immediately be arrested and
Exactly.
put in front of a firing squad. Just boom. We have too many people on this planet, and that's how we're going to get rid of them. Is when people are like, you know what? I really think that Temple should have got in over Liberty this year. It's like, oh, all right, to the gallows you go. Sorry,
That's
buddy.
As long as Leah
Awfully
Thomas,
close
as
to
long
you.
as Leah Thomas isn't deciding my college football playoff.
All right, you didn't
12,
need to
I'm
double
perfectly
down there,
happy.
Shane. That one was ridiculous and stupid. All right.
No, it's true.
Here's the actual problem with the committee. There are people who have school affiliations on the committee. Like there is a person who is an active employee at NC State. So could one say that he screwed Florida State over because of rivalry?
He's head of the whole thing, but also that doesn't make. I've heard people saying that, but his conference would make money if Florida State was in it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Who cares?
That
That's
doesn't
right.
do anything for him.
Who can No, you never. Dude, these people are rich and powerful. They are the pettiest human beings on the planet. It could be something as small as he doesn't like the athletic director at Florida State because he snubbed him of a handshake one time. So he's like, you know what? F them. I have a vendetta. These are the kind of things that you hear about all the time with these freaking rich, old white folk.
White.
Yeah,
Whoa,
rich
whoa,
old whites.
Whoa, I'm
His
sure
name-
there's
his-
some diversity on that committee.
His name is Boo Corrigan. I mean,
Boo Corrigan is a rich old white.
Last time I saw someone named Boo was in Monsters Inc. and we were worried about her changing the whole world because she was gonna give a sock to someone. I mean, Boo Corrigan is a buffoon.
I like that name, Boo Corrigan. That's a
I
I
hate
do
Boo
agree.
Corrigan.
You got to get the
Unique
people
name.
that work for these schools out of the picture.
Yeah.
I don't
Like,
care if you use like former players,
You
whatever.
cannot be an active. Also, we need more than 13. If
Yeah.
Look, we
You're
got
like
four
the-
people
you're
on the
like the
screen that will be
Heisman.
unbiased. We will be an
do
unbiased.
not do it like the
decision.
Heisman. The
You're
Heisman is
like
the
the
worst
Heisman,
run
just give 100
presentation.
people a vote.
No.
No, the Heisman is just the AP poll. That's all that is. If
Yeah.
you want the media voting for it, that's what the AP poll
Please
is.
do not let the media do it. They're
No,
dumb.
no media. I
Hey,
was joking.
We
What
got
I'm saying
four
is, if you
people-
don't want 13, where do you draw the line at?
we got 4 people on the screen that can be unbiased as to a playoff
False.
session.
False.
cannot-
Y'all
I-
are the
I-
worst at being unbiased.
I literally, I took Texas out of my top 4 out of petty. Like
Yeah.
I'm just petty.
I put Texas in because I want good football.
You did
I
not
want
put
good-
Texas in. I'm just
No,
saying.
today-
Last
today
week
I
we
go
did our
through, I don't-
predictions, and only one person
Well,
put Texas in the
but
playoffs,
te-
and that was
but
this
what
guy.
What did I say today? Today I said Texas is in. I want good football. I just want good football. That's all I want.
Hey,
If you want good football, I can give you good football.
Watch
just
football
put
on
2
Sunday.
SEC schools every year. We'll
Well,
do
that's
it like it's not hard. In my opinion,
Well,
if
I
you
have
want
Texas
if you want the best 4 teams every year, then guess what? You have 2 SEC schools every year. Every year.
well, they'll have 3 or 4 now, so that won't matter.
Yeah. I mean, it is what it is. Like, we should just get rid of the ACC. They're gone.
Why do
Fuck
we
'em.
need a national champion? Why can't we just have our conference champions?
No, fuck that.
Why do we need a
That
national
would be
champion?
that would be
Some
like
loser
Austin.
shit. No
That would
way.
be like saying we don't need a World War champion. We don't let the Germans kill the Jews. Who cares? We're gonna be the
All right, hey, I'm about to turn it
champions
off.
of
There's
the
absolutely no reason. You're just doing it on purpose now. Shut
no,
up.
no. I'm
That's
being
the most
serious.
ridiculous thing you have ever said. There's
No.
no reason to compare that to freaking World War II.
I don't think
Well, I mean, that's like saying let them have their
You have
part of
to
the
have
world.
a champion. You have
No,
to
because
have
the
a
conferences
champion.
are so different from each other. It doesn't make sense.
No, you're right. 100%. No, Austin, you're right. What we should do is we should have it just solely based off of who's the best 4 teams. So if that means all 4 teams that are the best in the country come from the SEC, fuck all those other fucking conferences. I don't give a fuck about the Pac-12. I don't give a fuck about the Big Ten. I don't give a fuck about the ACC. They all fucking suck. They
Well,
all
no,
suck. I don't give a fuck
The,
about
the top of the Big Ten, Michigan and Ohio State are good football teams.
That's fine. That's fine. That's fine. 13 out of 17, right?
so.
13 out of 17.
I'm not saying they're the best,
Sure,
but they
sure.
have their
Oh,
years. They have their years.
Every few years, we'll put Ohio State with 3 SEC schools for the past 17 years. Let's just do it that way. Let's
So
do it that way. Let's just have it the best overall. I don't give a fuck about your record. If Tennessee is better than Florida State and Tennessee is 8-4, and I test and Florida State's 13-0. But I know if I put those teams together and Tennessee's going to score 70 fucking points on them and fucking destroy them, then put Tennessee in.
Hey, Jonathan,
Like,
I got
Fuck
news
the
for you.
conference shit.
I got news for you. Next year, it's going to be 6 teams. 2 of those are going to be SEC. 2 of them will be 1 SEC, 1 Big Ten. Then there's going to be 4 teams that don't include those. The next 6 is going to be some collection of SEC and Big Ten.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As it should
Well,
be.
no,
It should-
sorry,
it should-
and one group of 5.
Well, that's part of the 6. That's part of
Okay.
the
Which is
yeah.
stupid. It's stupid. Let's just include these small schools for no
I mean,
fucking
yeah,
reason. They'll just keep their
Liberty
shit
this year
kicked.
would get lit up.
Let's just watch another fucking bad football game where Georgia decides to.
I mean, I'm
Fucking
probably
curb
not
stop
watching the
someone.
first round of the playoffs next year unless A&M is somehow in it.
Like,
Yeah, but if you had SMU in there, SMU lost 2 games. Of course, they'll be in the ACC, but SMU was like a decently good team. They lost two games to good teams. Had they included them instead of Liberty, SMU could probably put up a little bit of a fight.
I mean, they still probably lose by at least 2 touchdowns.
Probably, I'm not saying it's going to be that.
Because, I mean, is the group of 5 team always going to be the 12 seed?
Yes.
So they're always going to be playing
the 5 seed at the 5
Well,
seed.
actually, this would have been the year. SMU versus Florida State would have been the year.
Yeah, no joke. They could have beat them.
Yeah. So yeah, that's my problem. Or like the conferences all need to be doing the same thing if we're gonna do it like that. Like we need to have all the conferences have the same amount of teams. They're split up the same way, but every conference doing all this random nonsense just makes it make no sense.
Some conferences play 9 conference games. Some play 8.
Yeah, and like right, everyone hates the SEC for doing the November cupcake game in the middle of nowhere, but it's
I
just
have no
like
problem with that.
Everyone-
We've said for so long now that timing doesn't matter. Why does it matter if we play the cupcake in August or in November? Play the
Yeah.
cupcake.
play cupcake. Well, I do. It's smart by the SEC. Tell everyone else to get smart because Georgia will attest to this. Don't lose late in the season. If you're gonna lose early, or lose to a rival where anything can happen.
Well, no,
Even if
it's
that
not
rival
even-
is
that's not even-
terrible and has
That's not
lost
even
to
the
Oklahoma
standard,
State.
though. That has never been the standard. Georgia and Alabama have made it multiple years together after one of them giving them the other one a loss.
But
Yeah,
we
but they were already both in the playoffs. They were
Yeah, we
both
have
in the
to-
top 4.
But I
Okay.
do have a problem with, once again, with that argument of we don't care about the timing. Timing's not important. Week 2 doesn't matter. But then if you lose week 13, that matters 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I do think Georgia and Alabama should both be in the playoff.
I agree with you. If we were doing the best teams, but once again, I don't think it is the best teams. If we were doing a college football playoff of the 4 best teams, I would have Michigan number 1 probably because they win 13-0, but whatever. I mean, I don't care about the ranking. I would have Michigan, Georgia, Alabama, and Texas probably. But that would be a real toss-up for me between Texas and Ohio State.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing that gets overlooked is Ohio State lost 1 game.
And no one talked about it at
No
all. They
one
were
talked
never
about it at all.
mentioned. Ohio State
Ohio
has not
State
been
didn't talk
mentioned.
about it.
Yeah.
Ohio State didn't.
I was
fucking
ready to
talk
see
about it.
Ryan Day on TV, like opining for his group.
Nope, he didn't.
No.
He said, "Oh,
Which-
we're out."
I mean, that's fair. They played their strength of schedule was pathetic. They played nobody. The one, or I guess what, they played Notre Dame, who ended
Yeah.
up having 3 losses.
That's why they ended up the number 1 team in the nation because they beat Notre Dame.
Yeah, they played
That's about it.
They played Penn
Don't tell-
State, who ended up with 3 losses. I mean,
Don't tell the general that. Don't tell Bobby Carpenter that.
I mean, Rutgers is a real tough game, though. So
hey, Rutgers is a tough game, man. Rutgers puts up a showing. Now, it might be you might win that game, but you're only going to score like 20 points. And it's going to be a low scoring, hard fought, in the rain kind of game at Rutgers.
that's the problem I have with the Big Ten. I think is the fact that like all their games are the same. If it's Ohio State and Michigan, like if they're playing anyone else, the game may be technically close, but it's never in doubt.
No.
Those
mean,
teams never have a chance to score more.
The only games that are in doubt are the games in the Big Ten West between the terrible teams. And you know that it's just going to be, all right, who can get to 14 points first? You
Exactly.
win.
The teams in the Big Ten, besides Ohio State and Michigan, never have a chance to score more than 10 points. No, even Penn State. Penn State couldn't score more than 10 points.
Yeah, it's rough. Okay, let's keep it moving. Let's get to the fun times of this. I think we've hit all of the controversial, hard-hitting times. Let's have the fun ones. Should Michigan automatically be kicked out of the playoffs for reacting that way when they got drawn against Alabama?
That was not a good
I mean, that is the weakest thing I have ever seen. Just having a whole
you-
football team just go, oh, crap, we're screwed.
Did you see the way Alabama reacted though? That's
They
what
didn't, have
scares you.
they didn't have a party.
No, this is
Washington
all I
didn't have a
saw-
party either. Washington was just like, we're in.
This is all I saw out of Alabama.
Well, no. Here's the thing. Tell your fucking kids you're being recorded. Don't do like everyone knows you're being recorded, and that's why it went from oh shit.
No,
Shit.
there was a couple parents in the back that were like, "Woo!"
Yeah,
Like, bro,
yeah.
that is some I'm sorry. If if moms or grandparents have made it this far, I apologize for what I'm
Good
about
for
to
you.
say. That is the most pussy ass shit from a bunch of grown ass fucking men. Dude, man the fuck up, dude.
I mean,
That was proof that it should have been Alabama over Florida State. 'Cause if
yeah,
it was Florida State, they
100%.
were-
Well, welcome to the Nick Saban fucking factor, bro. No one fucking gives a shit about Florida State. You have to play Alabama? Fuck.
I didn't even pay attention to what that line opened at, but it should be like Alabama by 1,000.
It was
It's
1.5
a
for
1.5.
this. Guarantee by the time the game is played, it will be at least 2.5 for Alabama.
We
Oh yeah,
already
wait.
decided
I got
who's-
Alabama plus 1.5.
Yeah,
Love
1.5.
Yeah. I think it already moved a point though, maybe.
No, it's. I just looked. It's Michigan minus 1.5 right now.
Okay.
Oh, I would take Alabama all
It
day.
might have been 2.5 when it opened though, because I think it moved.
My real problem, Jalen Milroe just really scares. If they can get pressure on him and his eyes go down, he gets so bad so fast. If he's got the time to sit there, like he did against Georgia, he had a nice clean pocket and he looked very confident.
You're not taking into account Nick Saban. You're not taking the Sith Lord.
I'm sorry. That is the most offensive thing. You've said that to me now like 3 times this podcast. If there's one person who's putting the Saban factor into this, I'm not saying that Saban's not going to have a dialed up game plan, but Michigan has a strong defense. And if Milroe gets rattled, we have seen this season, there's a reason why Saban benched him, because when he gets rattled, he becomes atrociously bad.
The Sith Lord is he's
It's the same thing with. We'll talk about this in tomorrow's episode because I got very strong opinions on this as well. Did anyone actually watch the Chiefs-Packers game? What did Jordan Love do every single time he was under pressure? He threw up ducks every time. That's what Milroe does. When Milroe gets scared, he throws ducks.
Or he runs
Yeah,
for
but
40 yards.
that's the men's league. That's the men's league.
The only thing I can say too with Milroe is at the beginning of the year when he got benched is they were also working in a new offensive coordinator. Which
No. I'm not saying I'm not like
Best coaching job by far. In
it was
Alabama.
hands
my
down
gosh. I agree.
We say this every year because every year I feel like Alabama has a new offensive and defensive coordinator. You want to play them early.
They do.
Yeah, oh yeah.
You want to play them early when they're still figuring stuff out.
But Nick Saban's in Nick Saban.
Kirby Smart will tell you you don't want to play them at the end of the season because every year that's Alabama's game.
They
Yeah,
go to
Play
war,
at the
bro.
beginning.
That is a different style of football every year.
Now, why I am already going to bet all of my money on Alabama plus 1.5 and whatever number it grows to if it does. Alabama's defense looks like they are trying to kill people right now.
Yeah.
They were flying around.
They are much improved as well.
Yes.
They were playing okay at the beginning of the season. The difference, Texas
They out physical.
exploited. Texas was throwing because they have Worthy and freaking
And
Adonai Mitchell.
Adonai Mitchell, who's amazing. I love watching Adonai Mitchell play football. I hope he gets drafted to the Kansas City Chiefs. He's a monster.
Michigan does not have those dudes.
No, gosh, no. No, Michigan's got 3 really good running backs.
Yes, which I don't know. I mean, Michigan's O-line is very good, but if you can't throw the ball, you can kind of sell out on those three.
I'm gonna just like the same way that TCU out physicaled Michigan last year in the college football playoff. And if TCU can, Alabama definitely can.
I'll agree.
All right, let's get into some other fun things from the college football playoff. My favorite conspiracy theory that I had to throw into the podcast because it's just fun. Did Disney call ESPN? Sorry, hold on. Let me see if I can just read for a second. Disney called ESPN because of their beef with Rob DeSantis. That's what happened, right? We know that, right? ESPN's got the national championship. We know that they don't like Florida.
And then Ron DeSantis was writing. He already allotted $1 million in the state budget.
$1 million into
The
the
lawyer
$313 billion budget to sue the college football playoff committee. That guy's.
I'm not really a fan of that being public funds. Is that coming from taxpayer money? Because I'm not into that.
Oh, come
No,
on.
I'm not into that.
Everything comes from taxpayer dollars.
Oh, it's like just like
I really hope it's all pulled from Gainesville. I hope all of the money comes from
Hey,
Gainesville.
that would be funny though. That's a really good. That's a good troll.
I actually think the guy that's like the financial guy in Florida is a University of Florida grad, and he said he'd approve it.
Nice.
My God,
I would also love if he would have been like, nope,
Honestly, that's
go Gators, baby.
What are you going to take him to court over? Like, it's all opinion based.
Oh, but I bet there's some audio somewhere that got recorded, right? Just like
No.
with Michigan, that committee was being recorded all the time, and DeSantis is gonna dress up and then go in there and be like, "Hey, what do we got going on in here?" And he got the videos, and it's gonna be, oh, there's some video where they're like, "Okay, so Florida State should definitely be in, but we got to put in Alabama, and because we got to put in Alabama, we got to put in Texas. So, like, is everyone okay that we're gonna screw over Florida State and they deserve it?" And then that's gonna be boom,
Yay.
lawsuit.
I will say, as much as like the committee, I think they done the best they could. I guess I don't know. I'm such a I hate them so much that, but Mike Greenberg is right. Like if like it's like figure skating. We're not taking this up. We're taking this objectively when it shouldn't be objectively. Like if the way,
But there's subjective things in figure skating as well. If you fall, there's an automatic points deduction. So
but
if
Florida
you
State
lose,
never fell.
no,
Florida
I
State
understand.
never fell.
I understand. Which is why we have said that if you're taking I think Florida State should be in the playoffs. I do.
No, I mean, if I'm taking it from my point of view, they shouldn't. But from the committee point of view, they should be in. That's where I don't think there's a lot of transparency, and I just want some transparency. That's all I want. I want.
If
It's like
Jordan Travis was their quarterback, do you think they should be in the playoffs?
Yes, absolutely.
See, I disagree with that then. If you're going based off the 4 best teams, Georgia is still better than them with Jordan Travis at quarterback.
If they had Jordan Travis, they'd be number 3 in the nation.
Correct. I'm just saying, no, they'd be probably number 2.
Or number 2.
No, because Washington beat Oregon. Never mind.
No, I still
But
think,
like, if we're gonna go based off the 4 best teams, even with Jordan Travis, I will take Georgia and Alabama every time.
yes, I mean, I would too, but I know the committee is not smart enough to do that. So it's like kind of
Well, I know
going-
that because I would take Georgia over Washington and Michael Penix every day.
Yes, me too. So I just, but
That's
you
my
can't
argument.
drop-
That's my argument on that, where people are like, "Well, if they had Jordan Travis, they should make it." Well, it's like, not if we're gonna go based off of the other things that we've talked about. If you want best teams, then they shouldn't be in.
you just can't drop a team from number 4 to number 5 and then jump a team from number 7 to number 3. Like you just can't
And from number 8 to number 4.
Yes, I agree.
You got to mention
mean,
both. We got to mention
yes.
both. We'll be fair.
Yeah, not non-biased. You can't all 3 of those scenarios just can't happen. You just can't do
Whew,
that.
I really hope my wife does not listen to this episode. She never does, but if she does, she's gonna be like, "Man, y'all just like trashed on Texas a lot," and that's gonna be
No,
that's
but
gonna be fun.
it's the Alabama too. Like you can't, like you said, you just can't do what they've done. If they would have positioned themselves better before championship weekend, I think there would have been a lot less controversy. But
I agree.
Controversy.
Yeah, we're just gonna keep saying we're just
If
weird.
they're feeling better, I actually think Texas should be in there, but based on the way that the rankings were the week before, they should not be in there.
yes, exactly.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. The committee
It makes no logical sense.
themselves
It does not make any logical sense. Okay, wrap up any final thoughts that we have on the college
I'm
football
good.
playoff. I
I'm
think that's a pretty good wrap up
If I
right
was a
there.
Florida State fan, I would stop watching college football for the next 9 months.
Oh wait, we didn't talk about should Florida State just take a knee on every play?
Yes, yes.
That would be hysterical.
I would die. I would watch every snap.
I would too.
Just to be like, are they going to do it again? Are they going to do it again?
Ye-
Oh my gosh, they're going to do it again.
How long do you think they would do it until like eventually someone steps in and says, "Hey, like,
Actually, I think what
sit
they
out."
do, they should run out there for the first snap and not have a quarterback under center and just snap it.
That would also be funny.
Much like Jim Harbaugh, much like Michigan did for Jim Harbaugh.
Yeah. I would also, if I was Florida State, I would pay for everyone in that stadium's ticket, and then I would just take a knee on every play.
Hey,
You got the money.
Mike Norvell might be petty enough to do something so crazy.
And then if I was Georgia, like, right, I'm assuming they got to play each other, right? Is that what's happening?
Yeah. they're
Yeah,
playing
yeah.
goal.
Okay. So I'm gonna be like, hey, if I'm Mike Norvell, I was like, I want the give us the ball first. I'm gonna take a knee. And then if I was Georgia, I would just do the same thing so that the game just ends after like 5 minutes.
I'd be
Like,
down with that.
Just the quickest game ever. And then
really
you
screw
screw over ESPN for
you
their
imagine
ad
the
revenue.
fines that come with that, though?
Why? What
You're
fine?
gonna
Fine.
get fined for that.
Show
played the
show me
game.
how you're legally gonna be able to find me for that.
What's
Yeah,
ESPN?
you're playing football.
I don't know, but I'm sure there's got to be something.
And then
I
and then
agree,
at
but-
the end of the day, obviously the game would go to overtime.
Who do we let win?
At the end of the game in the fourth quarter, Georgia lets Florida State win, and then Florida State hangs a banner as national champions.
I've been saying since I heard it, they absolutely, if they win, should hang a banner.
Oh.
Did y'all see the press conference?
They would be the first
today?
14-0. They would be the first undefeated Power 5 team to. No, surely in the BCS era there was a
Yeah,
undefeated Power 5.
Auburn they would have won 14-0, but Auburn in 2004 was undefeated.
Okay, and they didn't win the national championship.
No, they got left out. I believe OU and someone else.
Yeah, okay.
State maybe
y'all-
played for.
Did y'all see the press conference with Mike Norvell and Kirby Smart? Both of them looked like, why are we here? They were pissed.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, Kirby should be less upset. You can't lose your championship game.
No,
Sorry,
I
Dad.
agree, but
But
Mike Norvell.
I mean, he has every right to be upset. Mike Norvell shouldn't have given a press conference. He should have just he should have walked up there, grabbed the microphone, smashed it to a million pieces, and walked off, and just been like, "And that's how I feel about this."
He definitely wasn't good either.
just farted in the microphone and walked.
Or just done a pure Marshawn Lynch. I'm
I'm
just
here
here.
so I
So
don't
don't
get
get fined.
That would have been great. That would have been awesome.
All right. That'll do it for that. Let's talk gambling. We finally got to do picks again for the first time in a few weeks. And you know what? It was fine. Everything was fine. I think I was the only person. Nope, sorry. We did win both of our bets on college football championship weekend. Shane hit Bama +6. Good job. I hit Florida State -2.5. Good job for me as well. Jonathan was not here and participating, so that was our lack of college football bets. The rest of our bets were all based off of professional football.
Well, I took SMU +4.
Oh, my bad. I apologize. I just can't read. I already said that earlier. I got a different.
I just wanted to give you boys a chance to catch up.
I mean, I'm still in first place and have been for pretty much the entire season. So shut up.
Second place, and I didn't.
yeah.
I went 0-3.
That's true. On that note, I did terrible in the NFL this week after going 7-1 the weekend before, because the Eagles did not cover against the Niners and the Broncos did not cover against the Texans. Blake also lost on the Broncos pick. But Blake and Shane both hit on Lions -4. And then after Trevor Lawrence injured himself and somehow lost to Jake Browning last night, Shane also lost the Jags -8. So all of that being said, that brought us to Blake and Shane still tied for last place with 18 wins and 21 losses. Jonathan is in second with 19 wins, 18 losses, and 2 pushes. And I am in first place with 21 wins and 18 losses. So
You guys need to get them push numbers up. But you got work on that.
Why am I trying to push? I'm trying to win. And then
Because
we
a push is better than a loss.
We got to talk about. Usually we do our new picks on the NFL episode, but we got to do. It's a special week in college football this weekend. It is the Army-Navy game, and so as is tradition, we will all throw a bet on the Army-Navy game. This is not going to be one of our official picks, but it's just fun to see. So Jonathan, as our veteran of the podcast, and for all of our people who don't know, he's an actual veteran.
Let's go Army, baby.
Yeah,
Beat
we
them
got
Siemens. Fuck the Navy.
That's rude.
I believe the line is currently Army -2.5. I will also take Army -2.5.
Yep, Army minus 2.5.
I will take the Navy plus
Yeah,
2.5.
Fuck you, Shane. Fuck
Because-
you.
Them guys from the Army are the worst excuse for military men I ever heard.
This guy. You would pick a bunch of guys that like to sleep in beds together on a boat.
I just do this just for Jonathan. I'm going to take Navy plus 2.
There you go.
I'll be shocked if anyone scores 2 points in the game.
Oh no,
Yeah,
no.
man.
I'm predicting
go.
a high-scoring affair this year.
So what are you predicting? Like 17 points this time?
No. I think the over/under is like 30.5.
Jesus, take the under.
No, I'm feeling there's gonna be a lot of the missed tackles. I bet it's gonna be raining up there in Foxborough this weekend. I'm gonna say a bunch of missed tackles, long touchdown runs.
Aren't the unders like
Go Army.
25-1 in the last 26?
Yeah, that's just what it's one of those years.
We're going to hear a bunch of stories about future Army Rangers and Navy SEALs, and that's about all we're going to get
Oh, yeah.
out of it.
It's gonna be
Unders are 29-8.
it's gonna be one of those years. Okay, y'all remember the Rams Chiefs game back in the day? When Jared Goff was with the Rams and the Rams and the Chiefs, like it was like 54-52. It's not gonna be quite that high, but I'm predicting like a 42-38 kind
no.
of game.
Huh.
42-38 kind of game. It's gonna be the most electric
With
Army Navy
20
game of all
with-
time.
20 total passing yards.
Austin, I have bad
Yeah.
news for you. The Army Navy under is 16-0 in the last 16.
Good for you. Guess what? You're either hot or you're due, buddy, and the over is due.
It's definitely due. It's been due.
Let's go Army.
Maybe Vegas is catching up.
The triple option will be
Triple
hot.
options gonna be looking good.
All I want is 1 year for like Army or Navy to run the triple option all year long. However, they don't practice that at practice at all, and all they do is work on being like a West Coast offense. That way, when they play in the Army Navy game, they just obliterate the other team because there's no tape on how to defend the pass.
that would be
That's
awesome.
one thing that's never made sense to me. Can they not find a quarterback? And what are these
No.
wide receivers thinking going to these schools?
They're not.
Oh,
Buddy,
The
they're not
over-under is
there to play
28.
football.
over under is 28.5. The over is gonna hit easily. Army's gonna have 29 on their own. So I'm going a solid Army 42, Navy 38 is my
Oh my
prediction.
God.
80 points
I like
scored.
it. I like it. I like it.
And some-
All because, and I think it does have relation to the fact that I'm assuming that they're playing it at the Patriots Stadium.
They are. How many fumbles are happening in that game to make it 42-38?
No. The Patriots
No
have not,
turnovers.
the Patriots haven't scored any points this season, basically.
I've got
And so
my-
all of the points in that stadium, that just the energy of points has been drained, but they're all stored up somewhere, and it's going to be released, and it's just going to be touchdown.
I've
Tons
got,
of fullback dives for 50-yard touchdowns. It's going to be electric.
I've got Army 9, Navy 11, and the game's gonna be over with 2 minutes and 1 second left.
Did you pick 9/11 on purpose, or is that just a coincidence?
Yeah.
Okay, I was like, it's really funny if you did it, but it's even funnier if that was a pure coincidence.
No.
All right, that's gonna do it for
Army
this
9,
episode.
Navy 7. Because on Pearl Harbor, the Navy took a loss also.
I'm going 5-3.
Oh, damn.
All right, you know what? If it's 5-3, that's got to be a scoregami, so that'll be
Got to
fun.
be a college score, Gami, for sure.
All right, that'll wrap it up for this episode. I forgot to time this episode. This episode might be like 2 hours long. I have no clue. It's been a good one. I hope that you
Hour and a half.
appreciated. I hope you appreciated all of our thoughts on the college football playoff. Let us know your thoughts on the college football playoff. Did they get it right? Did they get it wrong? Probably.
We like
What are you aggrieved about? Are there any conspiracy theories that you are into besides the Rob DeSantis one? Let us know in the comments.
The Mafia
Or
killed
hit
Joe
us up
Sloan.
on Twitter, whatever. Please continue to like and subscribe. We're almost at 40 subscribers. We almost did it. Okay, so let's get to 40, and then we'll go to 50, and then all the way to 100, which was our goal that we're definitely not going to meet. But we'll see you next week or tomorrow. Tune in tomorrow for the NFL episode that will not be this long, I promise.